You're watching Debriefing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Wing Gaming, a Soviet man on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of a Masquerade in the Woods. So y'all, before we jump into it, just wanted to let y'all know that our Patreon is now for as little as $5. Y'all can help support the channel, get some awesome rewards like permanent access to our community Discord server and full access to upcoming not safe for work videos. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right back in. Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. Alright, I'll be a little quiet, y'all. I am currently in the living room at my parents' place. Got my laptop set up and everything, so I had to keep my voice down a little bit. Alright. I guess since you haven't been out much, he took it out. I swear to fucking God, the hyena's gonna be the death of you all! She mumbles as she lifts a small pin above Lucas's bruised face. As she presses the back of it, I realize it's a flashlight. She carefully pries his eye open with her free paw, examining them. Lucas, in his unsober state, lifts his big arm back up, weakly pawing at her side. Does he have a concussion? Another moment passes as she moves the flashlight back and forth. She tosses it aside with a sigh. Can't tell. I just can't tell. He's fucking wasted. Is there anything else I can help with? Massaging her eye, she straightens her head with a sigh. Give me the stapler. I nod, turning to snatch it off the desk. River prepares a fresh cloth, cleaning the blood out of the fur around the wound. And turn that lamp on. She tilts her head up at a desk lamp next to the stretcher. I lean forward, reaching over Lucas to get to the switch. Lucas rolls his head, throwing his arm over my back. I turn it on, but when I go to back away, Lucas holds me in place. You're so warm, he mumbles. And wet. I carefully slide out from underneath his heavy arm, placing it down by his side. He's right, though. My clothes are still pretty damp from the swim earlier. Using my claws, I open the plastic holder up to make sure it's loaded before handing it to River. She takes a quick look at it before getting to work. I awkwardly stand at her side, watching as she begins stapling his torn skin back together. Okay. Figuring I should make myself useful, I grab another cloth and begin cleaning his face. As carefully as I can, I pull the cloth along his muzzle, rinsing the dried blood out of his thick fur. He instinctively tilts his head away, so I bring my other paw up to hold his head in place. He mumbles something under his breath I can't quite catch as I work the wet rag against his face. I'm so sorry, Lucas. After another couple minutes and a few trips back and forth to clean the rag in the sink, most of the blood is gone. I step back, bringing a paw through my hair. Hell of a night, huh? I jump as the possum sneaks up behind me, leaned up against the concrete pillar. I let out a weak chuckle, nodding with a sigh as I step over. Mason digs his paw down in his pocket, pulling out his hip flask, stainless steel but wrapped in black electrical tape. He offers it to me, shrugging his shoulders as if to say, why not? Oh, no, River gave me painkillers, I object in a low voice. So, a sweat can't hurt. You deserve it, dude. A toast to staying alive. No. I glance over at River wrapping Lucas's paw in bandage, looking like she's done it 100 times before. I really shouldn't. Pills and booze don't mix well. And drinking on an empty stomach is never a good idea. Mason shrugs, unbothered. You're lost, dude. Before taking a quick swig himself. Hey, what happened to the Prince dude? Mason asks, looking between me and River. River keeps her focus on the big dog, not bothering to turn around. Raccoon shot him. Mason turns to me. Right? I sigh, nodding. Did you kill him? River stops, her ear turning towards us. I can't tell if she'd prefer if I said yes or no. No, I don't think so. Didn't look like it. Mason nods, screwing the cap back on the flask and sliding it down his back pocket. Shame, could have dumped his corpse in the river if you did. I stroke my paw along my neck. I feel like there was enough death tonight as is. I've been here for 3 days and I've already gotten 2 people killed. Taking y'all. Water time. Oh my god. It's delicious. Good water. I shake my head. Don't want to think about that right now. Don't want to think about any of this right now. Instead, I turn to the possum, clearing my throat. So, the smoke canisters were your idea? I point a claw down at his pocket, where the outline of the hip flask sits. Same black tape as the canister I threw back at the mill. Not to mention the writing on that one. Mason glances down at it, shaking his head. Nah, Shep got hold of those. I just painted them. I raised an eyebrow. What? They look rad as fuck, don't they? He gives me a smug expression. I shrug, but let out a small chuckle and nod. Yeah, I guess. Gotta get some more of them, though. I think those were the only ones we had. Wanna come with me? What, right now? Yeah, why not? I look back over at Lucas and River. I don't know. Nubby knows what she's doing. He'll be fine. She'll get him to the hospital, no problem. Right, Nubby? She simply responds with a quick thumbs up. I'll drive you back to Lou's place after, don't worry. Plus, you really want to keep working after everything that went down tonight? I open my mouth to answer, but before I can, the sound of tires rolling down the gravel road outside fills the room. River notices it too. She quickly ties off a piece of gauze, tossing the roll aside. Mason just as quickly straightens himself against the pillar, crossing his arms. It's like a parent coming home early when the kids got into the cookie jar. The tone of the entire place changes in an instant. Help me get him to the car. I quickly step over, helping her get Lucas off the stretcher. Shepard appears in the doorway, 2 plastic bags in one hand, a small paper one in the other. He stops as soon as he spots us approaching. Where were you? The hyena cocks an eyebrow, lifting his thumb to the point of the car outside and opening his mouth to answer. Whatever, doesn't matter. We carry Lucas towards the door, the tall beast now blocking the exit. How bad is it? Bad, she answers in a flat tone, heaving Lucas's left arm over her shoulders. She adjusts her grip as we stop in front of the hyena. She pauses, closing her eyes. It's clear how exhausted she is after tonight's events. I don't blame her. He needs a hospital. Shepard tenses up. We can't risk that. Not after tonight. No, he needs to go. It's bad. Doc, you know we can't risk. Oh, fuck the risk. He stays here, I'll have permanent damage. She reaches back into her back pocket, the steel handle from earlier peeking out. But Shepard raises his tone in response. Giant's been hurt while out hunting. You take him to the hospital now and we'll blow our Who gives a fuck about our cover? Lou is seriously hurt. Lucas knew what he was getting into. He doesn't need you fucking it all up. It's the first time I've heard him call Lucas by his name. Their tones immediately make it clear they've had similar arguments before, or at least heated arguments in general. This is what being a hunter means. That's what we signed up for. That's the risk we all take. He tosses the bags to the side, not taking his eyes off her to see where they land. He balls his fists and squares his shoulders as if readying himself for a fight. This is worth dying for. That's very fucking rich coming from you. She pulls the blade free of her pocket, clutching it tight behind her back. Where were you tonight, huh? Because we were all out there risking our fucking lives while you sat cooped in here like a fucking coward. The last word echoes off the cold brick walls like a gunshot as her voice cracks ever so slightly, and me and Shep both recoil. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Mason do the same. Second, y'all. Water time. For a second, it looks as if Shepard is ready to strangle the white rabbit right there and then. I don't dare speak. But he doesn't. He stays still, stoic as ever, as if carved out of stone, eyes fixed on River. A moment of silence, which feels like hours, passes as River stares up with the most fiery glare at the tall beast, her teeth bared and nostrils flaring. She forces some composure, swallowing hard. We don't have a choice at this point. He needs to go to the hospital, tonight. Shepard huffs in frustration, clenching his jaw, eyes finally leaving her and darting to the side. This is amateur. We're better than this. All this could have been avoided if he just... He lifts his digit towards me, eyes back on the rabbit, talking as if I'm not even here. And whose fault was that? River retorts in an icy tone. I can see the hyena's shoulders tensing harder, his breathing growing heavier. His implication hurts more than I'd like to admit, and certainly more than I let on, even if it is deserved. Mason suddenly clears his throat behind us, drawing their intense stares towards him. What if we just keep it off the record? We all turn to look at him, leaning on against the pillar. River blinks. What? You know, like when you took Stripetail there. Check in under a different name. I had my voice quieter than I had intended. Or not check him in at all. You want to sneak him in through the back door? The possum nods with a small shrug. not quite meeting Shepard's eyes, but looking off to the side slightly. I mean, if River works there, she wouldn't be too out of place if we were caught. I don't work nights. You should. Would make nights that like these easier on your sleep. Could you fucking not? Shepard sighs, digging through his pocket and pulling out a keyring with familiar green tag. Lucas's keys. But you're staying here for debriefing. He lifts a claw at me. River looks him up and down, snatching the keys out of his paw. You're in no damn position to give orders right now. Before we make our way past him outside. I reach over Lucas's broad frame in the passenger seat to unbuckle the seatbelt. River combs her hair back with a paw, climbing into the driver's seat. Tiny. I feel my stomach sink. Please don't shout at me. I take a deep breath and muster the courage to turn around. Shepard steps through the grass, holding the bags he brought earlier. I close the passenger side door, looking down at them. Close. Dry. He lifts them, one at a time. For you, Giant, and Doc. He glances over at River through the windscreen. Mason leans up against the doorframe behind him, crossing his arms, car keys in one paw. Are you going with them? I glance between the three of them, Lucas, Mason, and Shepard. Stay with Shepard. I sigh, shaking my head. I'm staying. Shepard looks down over me with an expression somewhere between confusion and doubt, and I immediately feel my gaze drifting down. You're free to go. I know. I nod, letting my claws fiddle. I'm staying. Out of the corner of my eye, I see River shake her head disapprovingly. She swings the car door shut and starts the engine. After a considerable pause, Shepard nods, lifting his gaze towards the two parties slowly rolling down the dirt road. We stay like that, watching the car's rear lights slowly fade between the trees and bushes, the early morning breeze ruffling our fur. Shepard's the first to move as he turns back and heads back inside with determined steps. I blink, watching him disappear through the door before following. Turning the corner, I see the large canine unfold the large map from the night before onto the table, the brown paper bag placed on a chair. He lifts his fist to his muzzle, suppressing a cough. Without lifting his gaze, he points to the bag. Take y'all. Water time. Okay. I step over, opening it up, and pull out a greasy, oversized sandwich. Eat. You need it. I swallow to wet my throat, sitting down and placing the somewhat soaked bag to the side. Thank you. Hope you like ribs. I glance between the two slices of bread at the oversauced chunks of meat, gluing them together. It's from... He trails off with a soft grunt, the side of his muzzle scrunching slightly, followed by a sigh. Despite his stoic nature, the grit on his face is clear. I nod. It smells good, and I'm starving. But even so, I have to force my mouth open to take a bite. Shepard taps a claw against the weathered plastic of the map, tracing a line across it. I swallow down my first bite, deciding to break the silence. Why not use GPS? The tall beast shoots me a quick glance, as if surprised I'm still here but before returning to the map. Because GPS doesn't mark what we're looking for. I scoop my chair a bit closer, leaning forward to get a better look at where his claw is pointed. Black Mill is written in thick black letters underneath two rectangles, connected by a line on a river. I force a second bite down, this one even harder than the first, as the pit in my stomach grows. I scan the surface for other marked locations, one in particular. But nowhere on the cloudy plastic does it mention a factory. You ran far. He traces his claw across the map's squared layout. Not far enough. 6 kilometers on top of the hike back here. I lean back and take a deep breath through my nose behind the sandwich, the mustardy aroma burning my nostrils. Shepard lets out a short exhale of a laugh, lifting a paw to scratch the tuft of fur on his chin. Alright, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!